Myself Stika from aerobic section, and the topic for fluid dynamics of concept video is types of drag. Drag is a force that opposes an aircraft motion through the air. When we see the picture, we will get to know about how drag is involved in the aircraft when it is moving. So when we see that aircraft is moving on air, so the drag is towards the opposes the force that opposes an aircraft motion through the air. Drag is generated by the contact of a solid body with a fluid, liquid, or gas. Drag effects car. When we see the drag effects car says that the back tire affects the back two tires of the car, so that we are so dangerous to us. Even fish is shows that how drag is involved in animals. Drag acts in a direction that opposite to the motion of an aircraft. When aircraft is going towards straight direction, that the airflow is towards backside. So drag also acts towards backside. Here the big arrow indicates that how drag is involved in an aircraft and how airflow is going. There are two categories of drag which affects aircraft: induced drag and parasitic drag. Induced drag. When it's induced drag, we'll have the aircraft shows that how induced drag affects the aircraft. 854. Induced drag is an unwanted by product by lift air creation. Induced drag lifts air. Air traveling above and below the wing meet and produce whirlpool-like patterns. Whirlpool-like pattern known as vortices. This vortices tends to pull the wings towards, thus producing drag on the wing. First angle of attack, 40 angle of attack. The greater of the angle of attack, the greater of induced drag. Fifth angle of attack and 40 angle of attack. Parasitic drag. When we say parasitic drag, the aeroplanes with having the two wings or four wings. Parasitic drag is so called because it is not a byproduct of lift. Anything which interferes with the smooth flow of air around the airframe causes parasitic drag. When we say about these types of drag, we will get the information that how the drag is been involved. Drag is been involved in aircraft. Types of drag and effects. When we say about types of drags and effects, we will get the information. Types of drag: form drag, skin friction drag, interference drag, and induced drag. When we say about form drag, which is the result of aerodynamic resistance to the motion due to the shape of the aircraft. Skin friction drag, which is due to the smoothness or roughness of surface of the aircraft. Interference drag, which may occur where surface with different characteristic meet. Induced drag, which is the second effect of the production of lift. Wave drag, which comes into play when shock waves are developed close to the surface of the aircraft in toxic superweak flight. Drag and airspeed. Parasitic drag increases the square and of the airspeed, while induced drag, being a function of lift, it is greater when maximum lift is being developed. Usually at low speed. The diagram below the relationship between parasitic and induced drag each other. Three types of drag: skin friction drag, form drag, interference drag. And as air passes over the surface of an aircraft, friction between air and slow or the plane down. This is known as skin friction drag. Skin friction drag may also amplified by anything that increases friction between the aircraft skin and the air through the which is traveling. This can be anything from rivets. Form drag. Form drag is caused by the shape of an object moving through the aircraft air. When we say about form drag, we can also say that which also results in aerodynamic resistance to the motion due to the shape of the aircraft. What Centric drag, air drag, form drag. When we say about form drag, is a pressure drag is a type of parasitic caused simply by the overall shape of the plane and how that shape interacts with the flow. Some shapes are interacts with more aerodynamics than others, and the more cleanly the plane slides through the air, the less drag it will be create. This is why small sleek plane generate less drag than large blunt ones, or why when you put your hand out car window and holds it parallel to ground feels like resistance than you feel perpendicularly. The less aerodynamic shape, the more drag is being produced. Interference drag. Interference drag is being caused sharpless angles of aircraft causing streams of air to collide and form vortices. The final type of parasitic drag is interference drag. As air flows through the aircraft, we often think how it tracks over the wings, but forget that it is also interact with other components like fuselage, which struts, landing gear struts, and more. The direction and speed of the airflow is altered by each of these components, so the related streams of airflow hits each, and the interaction produces additional drag, adding to the already existing from drag. The total amount of drag generated is greater than it would be individually. Interference drag is greatest in areas with the sharp angles like where the wing struts meets the fuselage or the underside the wings, as well as where the wings themselves attach to fuselage. Where this drag occurs in World War II plane. What is modern jet? Interference drag has been reduced by softening the angles. Thank you. When we say about professional drag, both the drags and interference drag relate to the size, design, and configuration of your aircraft. Sometimes both the types of drags are considered together as overall profile drag and airplane. The profile drag is the amount of form drag plus the amount of interference drag, lift induced drag. In addition to parasitic drag, the second main category of lift induced drag. Lift induced drag is as its second a type of drag that is produced as a byproduct of lift. When higher pressure air underneath the wings flows up over the top of the wing, this is a source lift drag. Wings with lower aspect ratio will generate more lift induced drag than high aspect ratio wings. Some aircrafts are built with a curved up wing tops known as winglets, which helps to reduce the amount of lift. Thank you.